Help Save Our World Speak number 52. Can you believe that? I think it's 52 weeks or 53 weeks in a year. We've basically been doing a year of this work together. It's like absolutely incredible. The human psyche has been hijacked and infected with a thought plague, this belief system that's like, educated humans are trapped within the age of ignorance, trapped in the biased, focused, abstract values and beliefs and languages of institutions, bankers, business, government, religions, and the biased education systems and the abstract subjects like history and economics and physics and mathematics and the sciences, all of which are killing us, all of nature and our world. Infected with this disease of the mind, thinking the thoughts and speaking the languages, you and the rest of educated humans are racing all of yourselves and me and all life towards the cliff of extinction at an accelerating rate. You're just going faster and faster and faster. Eventually, with our technology, the trees will be gone in no time. The soil will be gone in no time. The pollution will be everywhere, and we will all be dead. It's time for you, me, and the rest of humanity to wake up, burst out of your bubble worldview, and search for the secret truth, logic, and reason hidden within nature and within the matrix, so you can find your way back to reality and help save our world before it is too late. Seeing and finding the truth, you empower yourself to be able to make better choices, to create a better future and put an end to this insanity of the plundering, death-based economy and worldwide destruction. Then, by focusing on a new vision of a love and life-based, happy, healthy, and sustainable age of reason, beyond this age of ignorance, you will grow a love and life-based living future instead. Hello and welcome to our 52nd Help Save Our World online speakers meeting, where we are changing the conversation to change our world. I am Denis, the teacher of the quest for the truth, change, and transformation. Let's start with Curt. It seems like it's the two of us. Alex was not able to continue. She's not feeling well. So could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Curt, a traveler on this planet. I'm here to continue the conversation of who I am and what I can do to contribute to both the material and the mental and spiritual worlds that I exist in. So showing up here often, listening, being in conversation, helps me get clarity and also stimulates new thoughts about what's possible for me as a human being.
Yes, I appreciate that, and I value that so much. You know, it's in these magical interactions that we see the clarity. Without this happening, we don't grow at the rate at which we could. So I appreciate your being here and joining us. You know, you've been one of our most supportive members, and it's really appreciated. So the human psyche has been hijacked. Owners and leaders of institutionalized pyramid schemes are focused on self-interests at the expense of all others. They're only concerned with the accumulation of more and more money, wealth, and power, and ownership of everything, and the enslavement of humanity through the maintenance of blind belief and ignorance. These institutions work together, knowingly or not, to achieve these goals. Owners, bankers, businesses, governments, religions, education, etc., all focus on the same purpose, the centralization of wealth and power. They all focus on perpetuating the paradigm and speak the language of the paradigm: property ownership, labor, products, resources, services, commodities, to get more money and wealth and power, to grow their pyramid schemes, institutions, governments, empires, religions, and technological empires. To this end, they have developed their compassionless, objective, materialistic language and paradigm, which is passed on to future generations through institutionalized thought, languages, education, religions, media, technology, and other mind control systems. In relation to the sciences, their focus is on objective, disintegrating, materialistic, and mechanistic biased theories, which have become the basis of their scientific language and logic, which is designed to perpetuate their paradigm and reign of power at no matter what the cost to all life on the planet. However, reality is different from what these institutions of education and religions have been teaching our children. We are all living a lie based on abstract and biased ideas, which disconnect us from living true to ourselves, our conscious, connected universe, of which we are all being composed. We are conscious, living human beings, living life cycles, vibrating, moving, changing, growing processes, literally symphonies of vibrating patterns of vibrations, energy, and movement, of a vibrating universe and of vibrating nature within nature. We are vibrating patterns and processes of the universe within it, not disconnected from it, within it. We are it. We are symphonies of vibrations, patterns, movements, and change of nature within it. We're not separate from it. We are it. All of us together. We are conscious, vibrating, universal, and natural beings of Mother Nature within our natural world and within the natural universe, as is all of nature and the universe, expressions of consciousness, connected, vibrating, and giving and receiving in this changing universe, within it as one with it. It's important to know that, because I'll explain in more detail and everything, but if you don't know who you are and what you are, you can never know how to live within this world. So all of which is plain to see if we are living and experiencing, if you are living and experiencing your life, living in nature, actually living, not existing in a room behind a computer screen. However, most humans are stuck in the disintegrating, objective, materialistic, technological, and digital matrix. So they are unable to see and know the truth. To know the truth, you actually have to live in the real world, not the abstract construct of world, but the real world. The only way to find out and know the truth is by questioning everything. Questions come down to like life's eternal questions, and then expanding out from there. Like, who are we? What are we? Where do we come from? Where are we going? What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? How do we live our best life? Do we live for ourselves, or do we live for the benefit of all life? Is life about relationships, community, ecosystems? Or are we better off alone or as a community? What is the nature of reality? Oh my gosh, what is the nature of light and matter? And in science, one of the most important questions is our reality particle or wave at a subatomic level? Or Is it moving and changing? Is it processes and flows? Or is it unchanging? Is our reality connected or separated from everything else? What are the relationships between everything? Which is seldom asked. Is the whole more than the sum of the parts? Is our reality composed of things, or is it a whole, connected, vibrating, changing, conscious, living world and universe? Is there a secret wisdom and nature of the universe and nature, which we should all be living by? What is intuition, universal and natural wisdom, and consciousness? The questions go on and on. That's why we should be living our lives in the question, as you say, Curt, on this continuous quest for the truth, changing and transforming our lives and our world, just through living our lives with the sole purpose to manifest that happy, healthy, and sustainable future for our children and all life on planet Earth. Today, we are continuing with physics, the sciences, and the shortcomings in how it is taught. Would you like to have something to say there? What do you think?
No, I'm in alignment with it, of course. So.
Oh, wonderful.
Yep.
Wonderful. So we go back to that saying, Einstein said, everything is vibrations. He and many others developed wave, energy, and light theories, which seen as a whole prove the true vibrational connected nature of reality. The disintegrating, reductionist, objectifying, materialist bias is based on incorrect fundamental assumptions, values, and beliefs, which are held as true within a limited and controlled perspective of reality, but are untrue at the core and all around us. It's untrue in the universe, as we will see soon. Awakening and seeing the light and becoming enlightened. Where did that word come from? It comes from being able to see the truth and the light. It's not got nothing to do with the actual religion itself. It's becoming awakened and aware and seeing actual light and becoming enlightened to the true nature and the wisdom of our world. Seeing the big picture, we see that most of our wave theories are fundamentally correct, whereas the particle theories are fundamentally incorrect. However, as separate disintegrating theories, they still lead us away from the integrated perception we need to have of the whole. I mean, even although these wave theories are there, we need to see it together as a concept. To be able to understand and see the wisdom of nature and the universe, nature, our world, and the ecology of Mother Nature, unless we put the puzzle together, we cannot see the big picture. Empowered with this truthful, connected, whole, universal, and natural worldview, and having uncovered the secret natural wisdom of life and nature, we are then only able to truly know who and what we are, where we come from and where we're going, and the purpose and meaning of life. I have another break time before I continue, because this can carry on and on. It's like...
You can roll this one. This is going well.
Okay, so last week I introduced a whole lot of natural, observable, and obviously provable concepts about nature and the balances of nature, and the connectivity of the electromagnetic universe and all of what is happening within it, and the true, connected, vibrating, moving, flowing nature of nature and the universe. I can add many, many, many more thought journeys to prove it even more. I also looked at reality in relation to the dominant and biased values and beliefs taught in physics, sciences, and the mathematics, and found many problems with those biased and abstract values and beliefs. However, the negative, impartial, objective, materialistic biased theories are not the only theories of science. So what I am saying does not take away from the many wave and energy theories and theorists that have done great work and have been marginalized. On the contrary, it proves that many of them were right in the big scheme of things. They are the hidden baby in the filthy bathwater. I also brought up a lot of wave theories of light and Einstein's theories and other theories which prove what I'm saying. However, their true value is not as separate theories, but combined. They have a big picture to prove. And if this picture is well composed and painted, it would make all the difference, especially if it's taught wisely to our children, thus changing the future trajectory of humanity and life on planet Earth. The secrets are observable by just living in reality and seeing the big picture, which is not supported by pyramid schemes, big business, and their values and beliefs. Like I said, the theorists that get funded are usually the materialistic theorists because it can result in commodities and business and more money for the rich. Knowing the truth and being able to prove it was previously a challenge, which many dedicated scientists have made possible. But not all scientists and lecturers and curriculums have the same altruistic purpose in mind or the wherewithal to question everything and find the answers as we are doing here. Change what we teach our children and we change the world. Teach them the true nature of reality and who and what we are within it all, and we live in a totally different world. To fully understand what I'm saying, we need to look at and have a universal and natural understanding of a lot of concepts at an outsider's perspective of events, movements, vibrations, waves, ourselves, life, nature, the solar systems, the galaxies, and the universe, and everything in between. Let me tell you a story. What is the nature of reality? On my quest with my wife Sharon, this question was at the top of our minds, and my mind in particular. What is the nature of reality? Over and over again, I repeated it day and night without any answers. Then one weekend, we went for a nature walk between Hillcrest and Winston Park. It's not far from where we are now. We strolled down a tree-shaded, moist dirt road. It had just rained, and all of the plants were washed clean and were so alive and vibrant. In a calm, meditative state, my question repeated itself. What is the nature of reality? I spoke to Sharon, but none of us could come up with an acceptable answer. We stopped at a burnt-out mansion, and we picked our way through the broken-down ruins while teaching my children about fires. And then we followed a pathway down to a catchment dam with a clearing on one side. It was perfect for Alex and Lance to play in the water in front of us. The rest of the dam was surrounded with tall reeds and long grass. The clearing was also lined with long grass. I laid out the picnic blanket and the goodies under the shade of a tree for Sharon, and I walked away, still in my meditative state, to the edge of the tall grass. And as if being encouraged to do so, I sat down in front of a head of grass seeds, just like a tiny wheat head of seeds. The question, what is the nature of reality, going through my head? Sitting cross-legged in a yoga pose, in a meditative state, I began to focus intently on one seed. Suddenly, I found my consciousness going deeper and deeper and deeper into the seeds, like falling down a rabbit hole into wonderland, deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, until eventually I could see the answer to my question. Everything was helically spinning and vibrating at enormous speeds, but it was all slowed down for me to see. I knew at that instant what it was. Shocked, mind blown, I woke up from my meditation and I ran to Sharon to tell her what I had seen, remembering it over and over again in my head, not to forget my daydream state, and trying to find words to describe it. I excitedly said, Sharon, Sharon, I know what it is. And she calmly and lovingly asked, what is it then, Dennis? At that instant, I realized I did not have the words to explain it, nor did I have any proof. So I tried, but it was really not very clear. I had to find words, examples, pictures, stories, explanations, and even other scientific theories to explain what I knew then to be the true nature of reality. This resulted in me searching for explanations of what I had seen all around me in life, nature, searching theories and philosophies everywhere. The truth was out there. I just had to find ways to prove it. Although I already had an extraordinary amount of knowledge and experience and research already behind me, it was not enough. I was not able to put it together as one comprehensive, living, changing, and life-changing theory. I revisited many theories of light, looking at all of the different frequencies and properties and characteristics and vibrations and spectrums and energy, electricity, magnetism. I looked at water waves to try and see the properties and characteristics of waves in the ocean. All of this combined with many of my life's experiences as a nature-loving water baby, swimmer, body surfer, canoeist. The answers were in nature all around me. I just needed to look back and see. Then it became apparent to me I could use the similarities between water and light waves to be able to explain my realizations of what I had seen, water giving me observable examples to explain the swells and the wave behavior. There were clues everywhere. I'm going to stop shortly. There were clues everywhere. I hope you're with me. One day, I was teaching in the electronics lab, playing with the oscilloscopes and the signal wave generators, showing students different wave signals, sawtooth waves and triangular waves and square waveforms and sinusoidal sine waves. And of course, we were just putting them on the one axis from the signal generator. And one of the other kids was mucking around and I wasn't paying attention. And he put a sine wave on both the x-axis and the y-axis. And it turned into a perfect circle. And it's like, oh my gosh, I see that. And it was just like one of those little light bulb moments. Another was Einstein's interchangeability between light energy and mass. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared, E equals mc squared. The principle is there that light combines together to form mass. So our reality, the mass of everything that exists, is actually the combinations of this energy coming in at the speed of light and combining to form mass. And of course, with the atomic bomb, they do the reverse thing. With the hydrogen bomb, they actually get the energy of the atoms to disintegrate from being unitary atoms and radiating energy outwards as light, as an explosion. So we know from that the nature of the essence of reality is energy. It's literally these vibrations, as Einstein said. Everything is vibrations. And he proves it, like on both ends of the physical and the non-physical. Then his theory that as you accelerate towards the speed of light, you would increase your mass and require more and more energy to accelerate up towards the speed of light. So nothing could ever accelerate up to the speed of light and beyond, because its mass would increase infinitely as the energies basically combined and got heavier and heavier, and you require more and more energy to push yourself to get up to that speed of light. So it's not an achievable thing. So there's another example. He's saying that light and light combined together forms mass, and you could never get to the speed of light because you would just be accumulating more mass. And then the photoelectric effect. Now, this is a fascinating one. Although him and Max Planck resulted in calling it photons, basically a quantum of energy, which is a light wave of energy, enters into an atom, and the atom expands in its energy level by one quantum of energy. And then after a period, depending on whether more's coming in or leaving or whatever, it collapses down to its balanced state, and a photon of energy, a quantum of energy, radiates outward. Now, that's every day we look at stuff around us and we see the sun's energy entering whatever it is and then radiating out towards us. That's exactly what's happening. The sun's light is not just reflecting off something. It's literally becoming part of, one with, and then radiating outward. So that is what we're seeing. We're seeing light vibrations. We don't see the tree. We see the vibrations of energy that left the tree in patterns of energy that enter our eyes, and then we perceive the patterns of light. It's like, oh my gosh, we don't see a material world. We see the energy that's moving between this giving and receiving world that we live in. It's this magical world that we live in, and we're thinking it's made of things. It's like, really? It's like, what are you thinking? Then photovoltaic cells. You know, we talk about solar panels and the sun shines, and then basically there's silicon with dopants and everything, and we call it the N and P crystalline strip, which helps us literally absorb energy. And it's the basis of all computers. It is the microchips and so on of transistors and whatever. But this particular one is very light sensitive, and it absorbs the electricity from the light waves and turns it into electricity, which flows in the combination of a whole lot of photovoltaic cells together. They produce higher voltages and the sort of current that we need. So here we have a light coming from the sun and giving us electricity, which we use to do all sorts of other things, you know. And then light converting into electricity. I mean, we look at an incandescent light bulb and we have electricity flowing through the wires, and then we have a piece of tungsten or whatever the filament is made of in a vacuum, all right, in a glass bulb. And as the electricity passes through that resistance, it gets really, really, really hot, and then it starts to emit light. So we have electricity turning into light vibrations, which are radiating outwards, which we are perceiving with our eyes, or it's entering into something and then returning to us and hitting our eyes. So we live in this giving and receiving reality where energy is flowing in all different directions. And right now, one of the big things that are flowing is light, which we are perceiving of one another, but we're also radiating sound waves out, which are actually being converted from actual airwaves in the microphone in front of us into electrical waves, which are literally being sent either out into space or to a telecom tower or wherever, and sent across to your computer or your cell phone, and then it's being converted back into the movement of your speaker, which is making waves which you are hearing. So there's this incredible giving and receiving of energy happening in different forms. We live in a magical world. It's like, whoa, what a... Anyway, so it's just like, whoa. Putting it all together, I realized we live in a connected ocean, medium, field, expanse of space. That's natural state, all right, is this glassy, calm, uninterrupted stillness, equilibrium, homeostasis, or like being earth to the earth, like when you're grounding and you're walking on the ground. The oneness we feel in our stillness state, in our meditative state, is one with that stillness of a noiseless, quiet universe. The ever-present perceived now, noiseless, undisturbed space, on which pure consciousness exists, and where all vibrations and everything else happens. So there's this natural tendency you to have like waves of light going through space. And as that has passed, there's this natural tendency to like just return to equilibrium. It's like we're flying through space as this massive vibrating planet. Before us and after us is equilibrium. Of course, still space does not have a stationary point or beginnings and ends. It's like we can't say, okay, well, this is perfect still space because it's two-dimensional planes, three-dimensional. So all of these waves are all doing their thing relative to the stillness of space, but there is no absolute line. This is higher and this is lower. There's no beginnings and ends because energy leaves somewhere from an event somewhere and it enters something, creating an event and leaves and goes off in some other direction. And in three-dimensional space, there's these waves flowing in all different directions. So there is no absolute one source. There are sources everywhere. You're a source, I'm a source, the leaves are a source. It's like there's this giving and receiving happening in this connected spatial universe in which we live. The electromagnetic expanse of space is connected. Space is all around us and in and around everything, like an endless three-dimensional ocean through which all electromagnetic vibrations vibrate sequentially. It is not a two-dimensional simplistic, like the two-dimensional depictions that we have of sinusoidal waves, which science use to explain the nature of waves. If you take a length of rope and you hold it between two people, and one person moves his hand up and down, rhythmically, a wave formation forms and will develop between the two of you. The wave seems to be heading towards the person who is stationary, but we know that the rope is only going up and down, even though the second person feels the energy of the rope transmitted to their hand and into their body, and has to resist to keep his end still, absorbing energy into his arm and hand and arm and body. The swells of the ocean do a similar thing, vibrating up and down on the surface of the ocean, but three-dimensionally on the flat surface ocean plane, always attempting to return to glassy equilibrium when no winds, weather, currents, and tides affect it. However, have you ever wondered why ocean waves always appear to be coming to the beach? The water of the swells, not breaking waves, is not moving towards the beach. It is only vibrating sequentially up and down because it is in a connected medium. The water is connected. So when it goes up here, it goes down there, and it goes up here, it goes down there. That is the only way light would travel through the universe, is if the universe was connected, electromagnetically connected. There's no way waves could travel from the distant stars to our eyes if there was a disconnection somewhere between us. It has to be connected. We have to be one with the whole universe. Same goes for light waves in electromagnetic space. Vibrations are happening, but space is not moving forward. The effects like energy are being experienced as moving forward, but space is only vibrating and returning to equilibrium. So the idea of the speed of light is a paradox. The three-dimensional medium of space is not moving forwards at the speed of light. It is only vibrating sequentially, giving the effect we perceive to be traveling at the speed of light. We all know that disturbances of space happen with an event, which happens in space, most often at a subatomic level, very, very small, creating the vibrational waves we perceive to be light and other small sequential vibrations of space. There are also many other bigger and larger events which affect the medium of space and, of course, at the subatomic realm at the same time.
Go
Looking at
ahead.
waves as sine waves, then looking at the sine wave plotted around the intersection between the combined X and Y axis is like so interesting. All right, I just want to quickly share a screen with you just to show you that. I'm just going to make this bigger.
I'd seen it and done some work with oscilloscopes
Oh, you
a number of
have?
years. So yeah, but I'm looking to see it. But yeah, the picture you painted was exactly what I saw. Yeah.
Okay, great. I've started to do this group of slides just to, all right, so the sun shines and the plants grow, we eat the plants and we grow. It's like we are energy beings of the universe. We live in a connected universe. We see the stars and the galaxies across the universe, light emitted events happening on stars, causing vibrational waves to radiate upwards into space. Light vibrations create the effect of traveling at approximately 300 million meters per second through this connected electromagnetic medium of the universe as vibrating waves of light traveling in relatively straight lines we see as rays of light, of vibrating light outwards from the source. We perceive as twinkling stars in the universe. The closer we are, the more detailed the patterns of light we see or receive. Now, here's a sine wave. Excuse me. Just to go over a few principles here. So this is one whole cycle or one period of vibrations, like to the maximum positive half cycle, maximum negative half cycle, and back to zero, to function around this plane. So that's one whole cycle. And the more often these cycles happen is the frequency of life. So more frequent, happening more often, would be the frequency at which this happens in a period of time. Now, it's really important to realize that concept of what comes before results in what comes after, because waves are happening. They're not stationary like this, they're vibrating. And the effect is moving forward through space, the effect, although this is only going up and down, boom, 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 and this is going up and down out of synchronicity. So it's like, doom, doom. So that's what's happening. And like, imagine this is like the electromagnetic ocean or medium of the universe, and this is vibrating in that medium. In that medium, there's not necessarily a zero line. It could be up in the air, it could be going this way, it could be going that way, it could be going in any direction, right? This is just an oversimplified two-dimensional, in other words, length and breadth or height, or breadth concept of so we can actually just see it in an oversimplified way. So this is not reality, but it explains what's happening. Now, this is a really interesting concept. If you go and create an x-axis, which is this one here, and a y-axis, And then you divide it into, you can divide it into as many things as you want, but 360 degrees divided by 12 results in 15 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees, and so on, all 15 degrees. So now, if we take a uniform unit of time between each of these squares forward in space, and we go to this position, which is, okay, it's basically divided up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we create 12 units of time to plot the whole sine wave on. Now, we can either go in like plot from here to here or the other way around. But so in 15 degrees, let's go around. Every 15 degrees, we'll take a dot across to just a unit of time in space. And now these are all similar units in space. And then at 60 degrees, we'll just go and plot another dot. And 90 degrees, we'll plot another dot. And we just keep on with this process. As we do that, what we see here is this is a whole cycle of one wave. But one wave as a whole cycle is a whole cycle of rotation. Isn't that fascinating to you? Now, the interesting thing is if we had a conductor going through a magnetic field and we did the same thing, rotated it through a magnetic field, a positive up here and a negative down here, the electricity induced into the conductor would be like this. Fascinating, isn't it? So there's a lot of wisdom in this. Like this is the event on the sun where now this energy, which was in this hydrogen atom, is now radiating out through space. And the other way around, what we're receiving and creating mass is light energy and, of course, light energy combining together to form mass. It's absolutely fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I can like pull up a whole lot of stuff on Google of different waves, and I'll show you all of these different events, but I think I get too caught up and lost in space. And oh my gosh, we're at 6:24. So let me just see if I can just finish this story here. All right, looking at waves and sine waves, and then looking at the sine wave plotted around the intersection between the combined X and Y axes, we get a circular cycle instead of a linear cycle, the linear being the wave, the circular being, or the radial cycle being the circle. Now we know that we live on a spinning planet that is orbiting the sun, and the sun is orbiting around the galaxy in our universe. All of these cycles of vibrations of different magnitudes on a simplistic level, returning to light in the subatomic realm, linear light vibrations become wound up in rotating and helical movements through space. So every atom is just like, atoms are not stationary. We live on the spinning world, which is rotating around the sun. So there is this movement of cycles of atoms spinning around the planet. And then at the same time, those are combined with the cycles of spinning around the sun, and those are combined with the cycles of spinning around the galaxy and so on. So it's waves upon waves, cycles upon cycles that result in everything we know in our reality. We also know that sine waves can be superimposed upon other waves. I mean, sound waves, I think, can be superimposed on other waves, like not just sound, but you know, radio waves, you have a huge long carrier wave, and the actual audio wave is put onto that super long radio carrier wave. And that is how it's transmitted over long distances. And then the carrier wave is received and the audio wave is taken off the carrier wave and turned into an audio signal, which goes to the speakers, which creates the the sound waves which we hear. And the same happens with video. It's this transmission, it's the superimposition of waves upon waves to achieve whatever we're trying to achieve. So larger waves having the ripples of smaller waves transmitted upon them. So orbiting the sun and spinning around the galaxies are much bigger cycles or waves on which the waves of our existence exist. Waves have many properties. Firstly, they are movement, creating vibrations, and vibrations in the electromagnetically connected medium create sequentially vibrating cycles around the rest state. These cycles have different frequencies, some vibrating faster than others. The faster the vibrations, the higher the frequency, and of course, the greater the energy per unit cycle. Oh, yes, so the vibrations at a higher frequencies are happening more often. We know the observable light spectrum is a small band of frequencies of wave vibrations in space. There's red is the slowest and violet is the fastest of the visible light spectrum. But infrared is, we can feel the heat, but we can't see it. And ultraviolet burns us with sunlight, but we can't see it. There are many other frequencies of vibrations of space, universal cycles and waves, galactic cycles and waves, solar system cycles, waves, sun, earth, seasons, tides, cycles. Everything physical is composed of cycles which originate from the vibrations of space and are composed of the spinning vibrations of some connected medium of space. Science uses lines on a Cartesian plane to draw a sine wave. It uses a 0 point and an x-axis as a starting point. When we know that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only change its state of expression and the relative position of balance. Could be anywhere in space relative to those vibrations. However, its return to the individual sine wave vibrations from the starting point to the end point is one cycle. It is one complete revolution of the circle or helical or elliptical movement. It is referred to as one period or one unit of time. We can see what happens before is directly related to the effect that follows. That is why we live in a changing cause and effect reality. What we do today results in our tomorrow. We can see the movement and the vibrations, the need to return to equilibrium and balance, and yet it is not static or happening in one place. It is constantly changing its position in space. So vibrations that form reality are like three-dimensional helical coils. In many instances of vibrations upon vibrations, cycles upon cycles, flying through space, in closely knit relationships to other. That is what I could see at the depths of the grass seed. We can see the relationships between light and electricity in solar panels. We can see the relationships between mass and light energy in incandescent light bulbs, metal getting white hot, radiating out white light and heat. We can see the relationship between vibrations, energy, and mass in burning a physical log on a campfire, mass turning into gas, heat, light, and energy. We can see the relationships between magnetism and conduction of electricity and the light in many different experiments, light, energy, magnetism, cycles, our physical reality, molten lava emitting heat, light, and cooling into rock, all returning to balances of nature, where life can exist in relation to it all in balance and harmony, with the carrier wave cycles of Mother Earth and Mother Nature, who is at one with the universe. Only us humans are out of alignment with ourselves and all of nature and our universe because of the way we think and how we exist in our world, all of which is because our human psyche has been hijacked. All right, we'll stop there. Ooh.
Mhm.
I know you want to run, Bonus, but you can't go
Yeah,
ahead
it's
and
getting a
talk.
little long and more information than I expected here. I'm
Sorry.
following it though, Dennis. No, it's all in there. So was
So,
this a natural stopping point for you, or did you still have a conclusion? I got the seed metaphor there.
oh, good, good, good. Um, I, this goes on, you know. The stopping
Yeah,
point is down here,
I'd say
but
stop here. I think my attention is starting to wane. Um,
exactly,
I have a tickle
exactly.
in my throat I need to take care of.
Yeah,
So
I've got that
my
same.
physical plane is impacting.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can carry on next time. I think that's more than enough.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, there was some like amazing, like, I don't know. Um, you know, it really, the thing is what to me is like this most incredible thing is um, minus 273 degrees Kelvin is this um, is like there is no energy, there's no vibrations, it's stillness of absolute space. There's no vibrations, so there's no energy, there's no, it's like freezing cold, it's the coldest of cold. Then we have like all around us, there's this electromagnetic vibrations, this microwave energy, which they say is all around us and exists everywhere. And they say it's the residue from the Big Bang. And I'm like, really? Could that not be the consciousness of the universe? Like, is that not?
Mm.
When we are in our stillness, what do we receive? We receive this incredible wisdom, connectedness, and whatever at that state, like as we tune in to that level. Is that not what consciousness is? Is that not the wisdom that's all around us? And the, you know, it's like this knowingness, this universal knowingness comes through to us in these meditative moments, you know, and it's like, bam, we know what it is. And like, that's what came through the grass, you know.
Mm.
It's like, all we have to do is be quiet and listen.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I can't prove that, but it makes one hell of a lot of sense to me.
I'm Prozac. Is that what you said?
No, I can't prove that,
I
but
can't
it
prove
makes
that.
it
I've been
seems to
thinking
me.
about settling down into that quietness, which sounds like Prozac, but I just heard it wrong, and it was an interesting interpretation. Yeah, that point of absolute zero, of stillness, of no thingness, which is, to my mind, aligned with meditation and what oftentimes we look to accomplish with that, is that stillness just to allow the connection with all that is. So yeah, rather than just being residue of a big bang, which is okay too. It was one hell of a thought, wasn't it? It just blew up and created universal consciousness.
But what about this as a possibility? That was like the seed of life of the universe. Like it was one
Mm,
of, and like not the whole universe, but like it was a seed of light within the universe.
mm,
And since then, it's been growing. We
mm.
live in a living universe,
Yeah, we do. Yep.
and the illusion that it was a big bang is actually a mistake. It's a misunderstanding. We actually like as these energy expressions of the universe expand and grow, there there's this need to spread out, because if we all like coalesced into one beingness, we would self-destruct and so on. So, and also if you think of
Mm,
it, if this is a concept, is when we're not close enough to be drawn to one another. There's all this energy radiating outwards, and it's hitting into planets and galaxies and whatever, and it's literally driving them apart. Why is that not a possibility or a theory?
mm,
That's why we would live in an expanding universe, is because, you know, we would literally be living in a growing universe if that was the case. And it is the case. We get to see the energy from immense distances away. So, yeah, and there's nothing pulling us.
Well, we're learning to take that data in and put meaning to it. Yeah. I
Exactly.
think we haven't accepted it because we haven't experienced it in our life, let's say, or in our consciousness. So to be able to experience what that primordial event was, whether it was a bang, whether it was a breath, whether it was a sound or a resonance, I don't think we have the frame of reference yet to connect to that. And we're still trying to couch what the universe is in terms of what we know. We're working on couching it in terms of what we don't know, being in the question without being fixed on having an answer. And I think shamans and seers and teachers and wise men throughout the eons have grabbed pieces of that and said, this seems to be where it's at.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm willing to, as you said early on, just be in the question about things. The questions reveal the next and the next and the next. And as I've said a couple of times, knowing is the movie prize. Because once we've said that's it, we've nailed it, and it has no more possibility of growth or expansion or progress. Whether that's a fact or not, I don't know, but I live by it. But I kind of like it. It brings me to a lot more fun and understanding and appreciation of the absurd than knowing a bunch of stuff that clogs the rest of my brain.
Yeah. It's super interesting. Yeah. Okay. We'll stop now. But it's super interesting that science with the Big Bang Theory has drawn this, like, oh, we live in an expanding universe, so we must have started from one place that's tiny. And it's like, no, not necessarily, because energy is coming and going from everywhere. So why does it have to be a oneness? Why does it have to be a singular source? Because there is ultimately no singular source. Energy is flowing from everywhere. Who? Yeah, it says who that there is a singular source,
Oh, I thought you said there isn't. I said,
no. Yeah, we don't know. We don't have the benefit of this ability to have seen back in time. We've drawn conclusions from what we can see of this little bit of movement, of expanding universe, since we have seen that the universe is expanding, or what we can perceive of the universe is expanding. We have no idea, and yet we think we come up with this illusion that it was a singularity. It's like, then there are other theorists that believe that it's other movements, and they've been plotting and prove that it's not a linear progression. So fascinating. Fascinating.
Good question for today. Yes.
Thanks, Curt. I really appreciate you staying longer and all that. This goes on and on, but every paragraph I'm sort of revealing another, like, really amazing, pertinent concept. It's like, wow.
Well,
especially for somebody who has no idea, it's like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. To me, I've heard a lot of this, but I don't think anything that you said or explained it was too out of anyone's ability to follow. You didn't get into technical terminology too much. So, I think it's important. These are the building blocks of concepts and thought processes and philosophies and understanding. So getting back to basics is an important part of it, especially coming from a scientific direction versus other direction. Awesome. If that made sense to you. As I was putting it together, I think I know where I'm going with that thought, but again, I found the foundational aspect of it valuable. Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, I can apply it to other domains in life, like life or thinking processes or anything else. So,
I think that's what I'm doing. Is I'm linking the fundamental principles of existence with
Mhm.
actual life, with reality. It's like, it's trying to sort of like, it's not just theory and some abstract idea out there. I'm trying to bring it
Mm.
home to reality, you know.
Sure. Well, that's what physicists do versus theoretical physicists do, right? The
Absolutely.
theoreticals go out there for the theories. The practical physicists go, how does this apply to our life? Let me see if I can find examples. So,
Exactly.
so we're playing both of those today, right?
Exactly.
With a little theory
Exactly.
and then a little application to our life. Yeah, it's good.
Thank you.
Okay, man, I need to get some breakfast. I haven't eaten. I've been up for 6 hours now.
Yeah,
So
I'm pretty much done as well. I'm like burnt out.
my physical manifestation needs to get taken care of. Yeah, we have a dinner time coming up anyway. So.
Yeah. All right.
Good,
Thanks
Dennis. We'll
so much.
connect this
Take
week,
it
and
easy. Yeah, it would
okay,
be nice to
yeah,
continue. All right then. Thanks,
yeah.
Kurt. Go well, but
Thank you.